Hey there YouTube, time for another common sense gun review. Today we are looking at the Walther PK380. To start off the video, we'll show you the weapon is safe. Nothing in there. Mag well's empty, and the only magazine I have on the table is empty mag. So get right into the review of the weapon here. I'll go ahead and give a disclaimer here real quick. You might hear some clicking toenails throughout the video. Those are my dogs. They refuse to go in the other room, so apparently they want to be in the video too. So I apologize for any distracting noise you may hear. So Walther PK380, what can I say about this weapon? I have carried this one before. Occasionally I will pick it up to carry it when it's warmer weather and my full-size pistol is just a little too much. Everything that I say today, I'm looking at it with a common sense review. It does not mean that I feel one particular way or another about the weapon. I happen to like the weapon, but there are some things to keep in mind if you're looking at getting one of these for yourself. Let's look at the good first. I always like to start off with the positives of this weapon. First, as you can plainly see, this is a smaller gun. It's easy to conceal. It is thin as far as the width of the slide. The frame is compact. It's got a shorter grip on it, so fairly easy weapon to conceal and carry. It also does not weigh that much at all. It is a fairly light weapon, even fully loaded, with the maximum 8+1 capacity of 380 ACP. Talking about the grip, it is a bit of an ergonomic grip. This pistol, actually, I bought it for my wife. She keeps it in her bedstand. But I also occasionally will carry this weapon and take it to the range. It fits her small hand. It fits my large hand. It's a very well designed, dropping weapon. Very well designed weapon. So they took some of the ergonomic successes they've had with prior models like the P99 and the P22, and they have carried it over to this weapon. So very good grip on it. It's got a good finish. Obviously the polymer bottom frame, well, that is what it is. But your top slide, the actual metal parts of this weapon, have a very nice stainless finish. So you don't have to worry about a lot of wear and tear or corrosion on your weapon. This one it's been holster kept and holster carried, and it's very hard to tell. It has not had a lot of wear on it whatsoever. Just a little bit here at the front and a little bit here on the side, but even that, you really got to get up close to see it. As I said before, it is lightweight. I would not call it comparable to like your Smith & Wesson, your air weights and things like that, but it is a very lightweight pistol. Even fully loaded, you can easily forget that it is on your hip as far as a weight that's pressing there. Moving on to the actual construction of the magazines on this weapon. These are one of the most solid built magazines I've ever seen. It's almost like it's just a solid piece of, I'm going to call it stainless steel that they have wrapped. If it's aluminum, it's a pretty thick aluminum. Made in Germany. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is made in Germany, so it's German craftsmanship. And then, you know, say what you want. They're known for their craftsmanship. It's a very fine made magazine, very durable. I don't expect to ever have a whole heck of a lot of trouble out of these mags. Very well built. Tactical rail. This weapon does have a tack rail on it. You can add lights, lasers, whatever you would want to add to this. Make it a good little bedside weapon. It would add, of course, a little weight if you're carrying it. You'd have to get a specialized holster, but more on that later. It does have the tactical rail, which is a nice feature. The sights on this weapon. I'm going to go ahead and drop the slide there. The sights on this weapon are a standard 3-dot sight. The rear is a white dot, if you can't see that, and the forward, it's really not anything at all. It's just a black dot. I think it was one time was supposed to be dark red or orange or something of that nature, but being a different color than the two white dots, it actually does help you line up your sight picture a little better. So I like the sights on this weapon, and I don't like the sights on this weapon. We'll talk about the negatives on that here in a minute. This weapon does have a safety, and it is an ambidextrous safety. You'll find that this weapon is a truly ambidextrous pistol. It has safety on both sides, and the mag release is on both sides. So this weapon can truly be fired left hand, right hand, same either way. And finally, the cost. It's a Walther, which typically means good quality, reliability. You're paying a little bit for a name, but you're also paying for a pretty decent pistol. These can typically be found for well under $400. For the reliability, are there other 380 pistols out there that may be a little cheaper, maybe a little bit better built? We'll talk about that here next, but the cost on these is not horrible. It's, I don't know, it didn't hurt me to pay what I paid for it, but after really getting into this weapon and tearing it apart and putting a lot of rounds through it, there are some negatives, and we'll go into those now. This weapon is not, I don't know if you can hear that, but it rattles. The fitting on this weapon, I think they could have done a little bit better in the factory. As I said, I think they went with more like the P22, which this is almost a carbon copy of. Which, you know, with the 22, okay, yes, it's a firearm and it has to hold up to certain standards and pressures, but I don't know that they really kind of made the leap well enough from the P22 to the PK380. I think they could have fit this together a little better, because brand new out of the box, it sat pretty well, but after several hundred rounds, she's loosened up a bit, which will happen with any real firearm, but I don't know that it should have loosened up this much. The mag release on this, it is a European mag release, and they, to my knowledge, have not come out with a second model or third model that has the standard American style mag. So you've got this push down paddle right here on the trigger guard. That's your mag release. Now, it's ambidextrous. It can be operated by either side, but if you have not practiced and trained and drilled with this style of mag release, if you have to depend on this weapon for your life in a reload situation when your hands turn into flippers and you have no dexterity whatsoever because of nerves, you're going to fumble with that, and you could possibly be in a lot of danger. So I would caution anybody who gets this weapon, or any weapon, with this type of mag release, you have got to practice and drill with it, or you're going to be in real trouble if you're used to a standard side push button mag. A very negative feature to this weapon, let me show you. Okay, your slide's locked back, right? Where's your slide release? That's right, kids, it does not have a slide release. So operating this weapon one-handed is very difficult. Now, it can be done. There are tactical ways to do it. You know, brushing it against your leg to pop it back, to pull it. But the only way to make this the slide go forward is to pull it back and let her go. That's it, kids. I don't like that. I don't like that feature whatsoever. I will be honest with you. When I bought this weapon, I'm like, wouldn't be a big deal. It's a big deal. Every other firearm I own has got a slide release. And having that for one-handed operation is just, again, you have got to drill and practice and train with that, or you're going to be in serious trouble. Let me show you something else about this weapon that tells me that I don't think they really thought too far ahead. They were looking at this off of the 22 frame, and I don't think they really were thinking this one out. I'm going to show you here in the mag well. You can see here, you've got plastic here. These little grooves, all right? If you're looking at that, you can tell that this is a single stack magazine, 8 rounds. They could have easily made this a double stack magazine. They've got room, more room than they need. It seems like the opening is just fine for a double stack. The grip is just wide enough for a double stack. It would not add that much more weight, but this weapon is a single stack. Very short-sightedness in my opinion. I think having a double stack in 380 for this pistol would have gone a long way to making up for some of the shortcomings in this pistol. So definitely a negative feature for this weapon. If you're carrying a weapon you need all the rounds you can get, because as I said, in a reload situation, it's never good to have to do that. If you can have plenty of ammunition in the weapon without having to worry about reloads and carrying several different magazines, all the better. I said there were positives and negatives both to the sights. We'll go to the sights now. This rear sight is adjustable. It can be removed and replaced with some Trijicon night sights or whatever you want to do. But your front sight, as in most pistols, it is fixed and it is not coming off of there without a gunsmith. Now, not a big deal. Again, this is not a combat pistol, but if somebody had a mind to put a fiber optic or something on the front, you'd have to do a heck of a lot of work to do that. So you are limited on your sights. For a Walther, which is a high quality pistol, I think they could have gone a little different direction with that. But again, I think they were just looking at what can we do with what we already have in the machine shop and put out another model. So they just took the 22 frame and beefed it up to a 380. And let's talk about that tactical rail again. Yes, it has one. But I will tell you that I have tried 3 different light/laser combos on this pistol, and none of them will fit it because it is just a smaller pistol. You're going to have to get a special, well, I don't want to say special, you're going to have to be very mindful of the size of the laser/light that you get for this pistol. Not just any common one will fit. So you've got to keep that in mind with your accessories. Look at the Walther offered products. They actually sell a model of this that comes with the laser that is made for this weapon. And I'm sure there are some aftermarkets that fit it, but I have not located one. And the final thing I'm going to talk about on the negative side on this pistol, again, I like that it has a safety, an ambidextrous safety, but the safety is just a rolling block safety. I'm going to show you here. And nobody freak out that the weapon's pointing at me. We all showed that it was empty. I'm just doing this for display purposes. Never do this at home. But you operate the safety, and all it does is block the firing pin from the hammer. That's all it does. Now, okay, isn't that what a safety is supposed to do? Yes. But technology exists when this weapon was made and has existed, where the safety could be a decocker. Wouldn't have taken that much work. The safety could disengage the hammer. The trigger from working. Okay, safety's on, trigger still pulls. Okay, so the safety is nothing but a rolling block over the firing pin, and I think that could have had a lot more done with it. As time goes on, as this safety gets worked, it's going to loosen up a bit. The potential of the safety getting inadvertently taken off is there, and then you have a live weapon. And I'm sure there's someone out there who is carrying this thing cocked and locked. It's a recipe for disaster. You can do it with a 1911. A lot of people do, but a 1911 has other safeties built in, your grip safety and whatnot. This one does not. So the safety is a little scary on this one. It exists. It's great for the bedside, but if you're carrying a weapon and you like a weapon with a safety, you might want to consider that when you're also considering this weapon. There is one other thing. I know I said that's the last thing I was going to cover, but there is one other negative to this weapon, and that's the trigger. It's a solid trigger. Put the safety back on. It's a solid trigger. It's got a good pull to it. I haven't measured the pull, but I think I've read it's like 10 or 12 pound trigger pull in double action. In single action, it's about 4 or 5. Your reset on the trigger, though, it's just crunchy. It's very stiff, and again, someone could say, well, the gun has to be broken in. This gun's had 350, maybe 400 rounds put through it. It should be broken in now, a little bit on the trigger, and it is just as crunchy as it's been when I bought it. So the trigger on this weapon, if you're looking for, say, the Walther PPQ or even the CCP, this is not that weapon. Do not walk into this thinking that's the weapon that you're getting, because the PK380, while it is a fine weapon, it is a Walther weapon. It is not their highest quality pistol. It's not the best thing they've ever made. And if you walk into this expecting that, you're going to be highly disappointed. I would urge you, now, even though I did not care for the weapon, because again it was a single stack, but if you're really wanting to go with a compact Walther, I would lean you more towards the CCP in 9mm. It is almost exactly the same size weapon. It is striker fired, but it has pretty much all the features this weapon has, including a safety. I would just lean more towards the CCP. Not knocking the 380, guys. This is a 380 round, okay? And this is a 9mm round. Oh, get him in the camera, sorry. There's not a whole heck of a lot of difference. There's obvious differences with penetration and whatnot, but you can watch videos on YouTube all day and they'll do gel block tests with those, and it's not a whole heck of a lot of difference. 380 is a good round. And again, if you're carrying for self-defense, you don't need long range. If you shoot somebody long range with your self-defense pistol, you're going to prison. So I'm not knocking the 380. It's not that I don't like the caliber. It's not that I don't like this gun. I said at the beginning, I do like this gun. But it has a lot of negative features for a Walther that I think a lot of people would be disappointed in, that they can alleviate for pretty much the same cost, maybe a few bucks more, not a whole lot, in getting the CCP. Or kick up to the next level. Look at the classic 99, which had some issues, but I think the 99 was a better weapon than the 380. Look at your PPQ. I love the PPQ, but it's we're talking budget-minded, common sense gun review here, and the PK380 is what it is. So not a bad weapon, not a great weapon, but a good weapon. And like I said, I bought this one for my wife. You can make your jokes about that as you like now that I've kind of torn this one down, but it's a good solid weapon. I would not put this weapon in my wife's hands if it were not a good, reliable firearm. So that is the review of the Walther PK380, guys. I hope it's been a little helpful to you. Leave your comments and suggestions, of course, down below. And I really look forward to doing some more reviews for you guys. This one was picked by some friends on Facebook. So the next one coming up will also be another pick, and I hope you tune in. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.